It's another math day here with teacher Jenny. Join me for another topic. This time, we're going to talk about derivatives and the activity given to my students. Let's have our P of x, which is equal to x squared minus 4x plus square root of x minus 3 over square root of x. Okay, this is quotient. So if we are going to solve for that one, then we are going to do the quotient rule, in which once you have your f of x expressed in terms of f over g, then finding our derivative of that one is going to be g times f prime minus f times g prime over g squared. So we'll follow the formatting. So the top is f, the bottom is our g. So our derivative for p of x, that will be equal to, we'll start off with the format. So we'll start off with g. This is g, square root of x. And then followed with the f prime. So we'll get the derivative of our x squared minus 4x plus the square root of x minus 3. And then we will be getting our f of x. So we'll just copy that. X squared minus 4x plus square root of x minus 3. And then get the derivative of the denominator, which is square root of x. That's our g. And then at the bottom part, the denominator, we'll just have to copy that one and then raise it to the power of 2. So let's now simplify this. So we have p prime of x, that will be equal to a square root of x. Get the derivative of that one. So the derivative of this is simply put down. The first term is putting down the exponent 2. And then x to the power of 2 minus 1. And then we have here the derivative of the second term. We copy the constant. So we have minus 4. And then we have x to the power of 1. Bring down the 1. So 4 times 1 is simply 4. And then x to the power of 1 minus 1. And then we have here plus square root of x. Take note from the previous videos, we've got square root of x is equal to x to the power of 1/2. So if that is x to the power of 1/2, we bring down the 1/2. So this will become plus 1/2. And then we've got x to the power of, if we've got the derivative of that, then we are going to have x to the power of 1/2 minus 1. So the one there, since we are dealing with a fractional exponent, so we'll rewrite that then into 2 over 2. 2 over 2 because we have the denominator here 2. This is for easy subtraction. And then the derivative of a constant here is automatically a 0, so we cancel it out. And then we have minus. We copy that because we don't need to do the derivative of that one. And then might as well transform the square root of x here into a fractional exponent so that it will be a lot easier for me to do the simplifying later on. Also here, we've got the square root of x here at the very start. I'll transform that right away into a fractional exponent so that it will be a lot easier for us to simplify that one later on. Then we do get our derivative of the square root of x, in which the derivative of the square root of x, we've got square root of x is x to the power of 1/2, so we move that down. So this is with 1/2. And then x to the power of 1/2 minus 1, so this is minus 2 over 2. And then square root of x to the power of 2. This will be canceling that. So we've got only an x here. So simplifying our top, this will be now a very top bottle. I mean, a very top bottle. Sorry, I really am so stressed out today. Anyways. So we are going to distribute that one here. So this is now 2 times x. We have the same variable. Oopsie. Then we are going to do not manipulation, but simplifying right away for this. 2 minus 1 is 1, but since we have 1/2 in here, we copy 1/2 plus 1. You might be wondering where we get the 1 there. That's from 2 minus 1. Continuing the distribution, we've got x distributed to negative 4x to the power of 1 minus 1. This is actually a 0, so this one here will become a 1. So 4 times 1, that's 4. So basically what we are multiplying here on the next term is x to the power of 1/2 and negative 4. So this will be negative 4, and then we copy x to the power of 1/2. And then we do multiply x to the power of 1/2 and 1/2 times x to the power of negative 1/2. So this will be now plus 1/2. And then we copy x. 1/2 is the exponent on the outer. And then we have here 1 minus 2, that's negative 1. So we have a minus 1 over 2 for that one. And then we distribute this one here inside. So if you try to look at that, if we do this one at the same time, I think it's going to be confusing on the viewer's part, but please bear with me. So minus, since this is a minus, so we have to make sure that we are enclosing this in a parenthesis. Otherwise, if you forgot to put it in a parenthesis, that might be incorrect somewhere. And then we have here x squared times 1/2 x to the power of, this one will be negative 1/2. So we have we have still 1/2, sorry. And then copy x to the power of 2. So 1/2 minus 2 over 2, this is with negative 1/2 still. So this is with minus 1/2. Anyways, I'm not gonna do it right away because I know it's gonna be quite confusing. So let me try to redo that. But if you really can do that one directly, like no more on this line here somewhere, that's really fine. But for the sake of the discussion, let me just do that one in a simpler form. So x to the power of 1/2, that will be times 2 times x to the power of 1, or simply an x, minus 4, times x to the power of 0, that's a 1, so 4 times 1 is 4. And then we have plus 1/2 times x to the power of 1 minus 2, that's negative 1. We copy the common denominator as 2. And then we have minus x to the power of 2 minus 4x plus x to the power of 1/2 minus 3 times 1/2 times x to the power of 1 minus 2, that's negative 1 over 2. And then over x. So simplifying that one, this is now equal to, so this time we are now ready to distribute that one. So x to the power of 1/2 times 2x, that will be 2x to the power of 1/2 plus 1. Or, since that is only 1, we can do that one right away as 2 over 2, so that it will be a lot easier for us to add that one later. And then x to the power of 1/2 distributed to this will be minus 4, x to the power of 1/2. And then x to the power of 1/2 distributed to that, so we have a plus 1/2. And then we've got x to the power of 1/2 minus 1/2. And then we've got minus. So again, as I mentioned, please do not get the parentheses out because this is a minus. This is really, really different from the others. from the positive sign. So this will be distributed to there. So we have x to the power of 2 times 1 half, x to the power of negative 1 half. So we have to copy 1 half and then copy x. And then 2 will be added with a negative 2. So this will be with a minus 1 half here. And then we have minus 4x will be distributed to that one. So this is now minus 4 times 1 half times x to the power of 1 plus 1 half. So again, 1 here could be expressed in terms of a 2 over 2 because we have a denominator here with 2. So we have 2 over 2 plus negative 1 half. That's a negative 1 half. And then lastly, we have no, it's not lastly, but we have x to the power of 1 half times 1 half, x to the power of 1 half. So we have here plus 1 half times x to the power of 1 half plus negative 1 half. That's a minus 1 half. And lastly, we have a minus 3 times 1 half times x to the negative 1 half. And then that's over an x. So after that one, we are going to simplify that. So this is now equal to, we'll try to examine first this first group here if we can combine or simplify something. So yes, we can simplify something in there. So this one here, we can just do 2 times x to the power of 1 half plus 2 over 2. That's 1 plus 2, that's 3. And then over 2. And then we have here minus 4 x to the power of 1 half. And then plus 1 half. X to the power of 1 half minus 1 half, that is a 0. So x to the power of 0, that's 1. So we have only 1 half here. And then this time we are distributing our signs here, a negative sign. So everything inside here will be changing its sign. So we have a minus 1 half. And then x to the power of 2 minus 1 half. So 2 minus 1 half, we can find the denominator, the LCD there, which is 2. And then this is understood with 1. So 2 divided by 1, that's 2. Times 2, that's 4. And then minus 2 divided by 2, that's 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So this is equivalent to 3 over 2. So our x here is with 3 over 2 as our exponent. And then next up, we have, from negative, we have that as a plus 4. 4 times 1 half, that will be 4 over 2, or that is simply a 2. And then x to the power of 2 minus 1, that's 1. And then we copy the common denominator. And then we have plus 1 half. Instead of plus, by the way, that's a minus because we are distributing our negative sign here. So again, everything here inside the sign will change. So that's a minus 1 half. And then x to the power of 1 half minus 1 half, that's x to the power of 0. So that's simply 1. So we don't need to write anything. And then from minus, that will be a plus. And then 3 times 1 half, that will be 3 halves because 3 times 1 is 3. And then over 2. Copy the 2. And then we have x to the power of negative 1 half over x. So we're almost done. This will be now. This one and that one will be canceled because that will lead to a 0. 1 half minus 1 half, that's a 0. So let's see if we can combine anything. So let's start with x to the power 3 halves. If we have x to the power 3 halves, so this one here and that one. So we can combine those things. So we have equal to 2 minus 1 half. We have a 2 minus 1 half here. That leads to a 3 halves. So we'll just copy that one. So 3 halves and then x to the power of copy 3 halves as well. And then we have followed with x to the power 1/2. We have another x to the power 1/2 here. So negative 4 plus 2, that's a negative 2 times x to the power 1/2. And the next one is this one. So we just copy that one because we don't have any x to the power of negative 1/2. So we copy. So we have plus 3 halves. And then x to the power of negative 1/2. And then over x. So simplifying this, so we can do that one as this. We can simply put down our negative exponent. So we have 3 halves, x to the power 3 halves, and then minus 2 x to the power 1/2, and then bring down, but still we have a plus 3 here. Or if you want, you can just simply multiply 3 and x to the power of negative 1/2. So that will become a 3x to the power of negative 1/2. And then over 2. Or maybe not. So you can have it like this. And then get the reciprocal of that one. So that will be 1 over x to the power of 1/2. And then that's over x. So notice that we have here a fraction up and another fraction for the entire thing. So we can simplify that one by simply having it in terms of fraction here. So we can just simply do it as 3. Or we just simply do our dividing by the reciprocal of this so that it will be a lot easier for us. So this will be now 3 halves times x to the power 3 halves. And then minus 2 times x to the power 1/2. And then plus 3 halves times 1 over x to the power 1/2. We can simply multiply that one. So this will be now 3 times 1, that's a 3, over 2 times x to the power of 1/2. The entire thing will be multiplying that one with the reciprocal of your x. This is with 1 here as a denominator. Reciprocal of that one is 1 over x. So by that, we can now simplify. So this will be now equal to, distribute 1 over x, so this will be now equal to 3x to the power of 3 halves over 2x. Because you can simply multiply 3 times x to the power of 3 halves here, so that's 3x to the power of 3 halves. And then multiplied with 1, that's 3 times x to the power of 3 halves. And then 2 times x, that's 2x. Minus multiplying 2x to the power of 1/2 times 1x. So 2x times 2x to the power of 1/2 times 1, that's 2x to the power of 1/2. And then over x. Because this is understood with 1 here. And then plus 3 times 1, that's a 3. And then 2x to the power of 1/2, that will be 2 times x to the power of 1/2 plus 1. Because we have 1 here as an exponent. And then next, we have this, simplifying. Since we have x at the top and x at the bottom part, we do subtract their exponent. This is with 1. So this is now with 3x to the power of 3 halves minus 1. This is with 2 over 2. Over now 2. We only have 2 because we subtracted our exponent at the top. So that means to say that we've got an x transferred at the top there. And once you multiply that, once you transfer x at the top, that will become an x to the power of negative 1. So we're adding 3 halves and then negative 1. So that becomes 3 halves minus 2 over 2. And the next one here is we have minus 2. And then x to the power of 1 half minus 1. This is with 1 here. So that's 2 over 2. And then plus 3 over 2 x to the power of, the 1 here could be expressed in terms of 2 over 2. So 1 plus 2, that's 3. And then over 2. So simplifying the top part, this is now 3x. 3 minus 2, that's 1 over 2. Over 2 minus 2x to the power of 1 half. 1 half minus 2 over 2. This will be 1 minus 2. That's negative 1. So 2x to the power of negative 1 half. And then plus 3 over 2. Then we can go and then later on, let's have that later on. And then this one is a negative exponent, so we'll have to do our positive exponent for that one. So 3x to the power of 1 half over 2 minus 2 over x to the power of 1 half plus 3 over 2x to the power of 3 halves. So continuing our process here. So this is now simplifying everything. So we have 3 and then converting our fractional exponents. So we have x to the power of 1 half, that will become x or square root of x, and then over 2. And then minus, we have 2 over x to the power of 1 half, that's square root of x. And then plus 3 over 2. X to the power of 3 halves, that will become a square root of x cubed. And then simplifying that one further, this one here has square root of x still. So we are going to do the square root of x over square root of x here. So this will be now 3 square root of x. This is okay because the numerator part contains a radical only. So we have minus 2 times square root of x. That's 2 square root of x. Over square root of x of square root of x. That will become square root of x squared. So that's an x. So plus, here if you notice I did not do anything. Or, if you may, since this is x cubed, it's not divisible by 2 because our problem here is we must come up with an exponent inside which is divisible by 2, so that once you try to simplify that one, if your exponent inside is divisible by 2, automatic, you can take it out by simply dividing the exponent by 2. So whatever is the result, that will be the result. Anyways, let me just simplify that one so that it will be clear and not confusing on your part. So this will be 3 over 2. Since this one has a cube, which is bigger than, or a bigger exponent than the index there, which is 2. So we will be separating this one inside with, or into, x squared times an x. So that we can take out the x squared here because the square root of x squared, or let me write that one again like this so that you can see clearly what's happening. Let me rewrite this. And then plus 3 over 2. This is similar to once we say a square root of x squared times the square root of x. So this one, we can cancel that one and that one. So this would lead to a 3 square root of x over 2 minus 2 square root of x over x plus 3 over 2x square root of x. So we still have a square root here, so we are going to do rationalize. Square root of x over square root of x will be multiplied to this expression only. So this will be now equal to 3 square root of x over 2 minus 2 square root of x over x plus 3 times square root of x, that's 3 square root of x over 2x. But we have here square root of x times square root of x, that will be square root of x squared or simply an x. So we multiply this with an x. This one is with 3 square root of x over 2 minus 2 square root of x over x plus 3 square root of x over 2x squared. That will be our final answer. You may choose to simplify that one into a single fraction, but it's okay not to. So there will be another video for this one, so I hope that you will check out that one.